That is a good look at the 2018 winners in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and now they view this. Daytona International Speedway, the world center of racing, and the 16th version of their 2018 season. So far, 3 regulars have won and earned playoff points. Justin Allgaier, Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, you saw them, and Reddick was the winner here at the opening race of the season. He'll try to double up this weekend on the 250-miler Friday night. Hi, everyone. Dave Burns, along with Hall of Famer Dale Jarrett, who knows a thing or two about winning at Daytona. You know how special it was, and as these drivers, the younger drivers, the under-series, if you will, get ready to go out there, what are they thinking? What are they dreaming?
Yeah, they've seen these trophies hoisted in that victory lane. That's what they're looking at. They know, yeah, this is July, so it's not February. Doesn't make any difference. This is Daytona. Getting a trophy here is very, very special, and they understand. Yeah, they've got a great name, the Firecracker 250. That's how this July race, which was always run on July 4th in the Cup Series,
right,
was that it started with that name. So they know the special things happening. But the big thing that they know, they all have an opportunity to punch their ticket into the playoffs with a win here. And everybody that's in this field has a chance to win this race.
3 have done so far. What about practice and the business side of it now, Dale? As a driver gets ready to go out there, there's some peril out there if you're not careful.
Yeah, we've seen over the years that things happen, and everybody's going to try to get as much done in this first practice as they possibly can, which means going out and filling out your car. Now, the racetrack's hot, it's slick, and that's when things generally happen, but you have to find out exactly, are there changes that you need to make in your race car? So you're going to have to put yourself in the middle of a package if you can make that happen, just to see what you have, any changes that need to be made for tomorrow night.
Here at Daytona.
So this is what you have to do as a driver. It's not exactly what you want to do. You'd rather go out and just make some laps, see what your car is. But as Steve pointed out, the rules package for these cars hasn't changed in a while, so they kind of understand that. But he also pointed out that this is July, and the racetrack is much hotter, much slicker than what they had here in February. And if you remember back, February was a pretty wild race in itself.
On board with Christopher Bell. He'll be in the 20. Ryan Preece, his teammate, will be in the 18. Third teammate for Joe Gibbs Racing will be the 19 of Brandon Jones.
And Dave, as a crew chief right here, I'm basically liking this single file running, right? Because I want the tires to get some age on them, run some laps. So to do that, let's run 8 or 9 or 10 single file.
Yeah, right here, there's a couple of things that you can accomplish right here. So you stay single file, you're going to be able, once they get up to speed and make a couple of laps like that, you can lay back and you can get yourself a really good time put down, which will then give you a later opportunity to go out tomorrow in qualifying, because that's how the order is set for that. Plus, it gives you an idea of exactly how far you can pull up. How far back do I need to be before I really feel that toe? So as they come off of turn 4 here, they're coming to what I think is probably the most dangerous and difficult part of the track. This little bit of tri-oval, you get some banking, but as you go out of the tri-oval here, things narrow up a lot. And we see once you get into 2 and 3 wide racing there, you can find yourself in a difficult position, whether you're in the middle or the outside of that. Can't go below this yellow line. So in leading this race, we're going to see, and you want to stay as low as you possibly can, but then we're going to see it get up against the wall tomorrow night at some point in time. Now we have some action going on with one of the best here, guy that only lost by inches here back in February, Elliott Sadler, and he's certainly looking at this race as an opportunity to break that non-winning streak that he has going on right now. But this is Elliott just saying, okay, what can I do? Can I make a second line here that can go up and pass these cars that have gone out and led this pack from the start?
So I mentioned the single file early. Now they're 2 wide, DJ. And as a crew chief, every single lap, I reach up to the radio. I want to call my driver in. I know this is necessary, but I don't like it one bit. So how calm is this? We see 3 wide racing, but 2 wide in practice, as you see right there, it instantly goes 3 wide. That's my biggest fear. Cars blending on and off the racetrack really disrupts the pack.
Yeah, that's the worst part of practice. You know, you get in the race, 2 and 3 wide racing is pretty common, but whenever you get in practice, you have cars wanting to join in and be a part of this, but they join the party late, so to speak, so they're running at a much reduced rate. And if you're 2 or 3 cars back, you really can't see that. Your spotter's telling you there, but you're not that they're there, but you're not exactly sure where they are, and that's where we've seen incidents take place here in practice.
Looking back at the 7 of Allgaier, the 18 of Priest. Some of the other different numbers out there. 23 this weekend, Chase Elliott again. Get to the story on that group in a little while. Justin Haley in the 24. Drivers you don't normally see. Of course, Kyle Larson will be in the field this weekend as well in the 42.
Now, these drivers have to figure out everything. What can they do? And you know, they're honing their skills basically with this. So understanding everything that you can do. And part of that is the side drafting part of it, you know, because that's extremely important if you're going to race and do well. Let's take a look here. I think Daniel Hemrick will get a little bit of a look at what he's doing here. So you can see the outside line's got a little bit of a run there. All it takes is just getting there for a split second. You slow that car down, slow that momentum down just enough, and it gets you back ahead. So those are things that you have to try. But because you're talking about inches, just miscalculating a little bit creates that problem for the crew chief that Steve was talking about.
Well, and DJ, you're assuming the guy in the outside lane isn't going to move as well. How many times have you gone down a 3-lane interstate and you're all the way to the left and there's someone all the way to the right, and at the same time you try to blend in that middle lane? That's what can happen. You know, the guy on the double yellow line, he thinks I'm going to chase this outside lane, especially here on the backstretch. I'm going to chase up to his door. If the one of Elliott Sadler at the same idea comes down, as you see him right there, to the right door of the 21 of Hemrick, that's as easy as it can be. When you're talking a matter of inches and you both think you have 6 inches, that's normally when it gets in trouble.
Yeah, turn signals don't work good on these things. So that, yeah, you just
not that anybody would use them anyway.
Well, I was going to say, they don't work on the highway either.
Look how close this racing is. You can see.
And I tell you guys, from this pit stall down here at pit box 3, they are so close to the racetrack. You know, we're only probably 200, 250 feet away. You really get a sense of speed as they come by here in a pack.
Ryan Reed made it 3 wide through the tri-oval last time in that red and white 16. He looks low now, trying to push the 7 of Allgaier. Parker?
Well, guys, we watched this pack go around. I can't help but notice that 22 car of Ryan Blaney's been controlling the pack so well. Remember, he dominated the Daytona 500 earlier this year. Just really, he seems to have a lot of prowess on the super speedways, has a very aggressive style. But I'm just watching him be able to control this pack, as he's probably going to go to the back now and get away from this pack as I say that.
He's done controlling,
I thought it was
Parker.
impressive, at least up until then, how well they were able to do that and how much speed he has in there. You guys noticed that as well.
Yeah, he'll want to get back there, too, to see, wow, there's a lot of moving around there. I don't know if some of that's intentional and some of it's just going where the cars are going. But Blaney will probably want to get back there. He's been leading that pack the whole time. His time is just the 17th quickest there because he's leading. He's not getting any tow whatsoever. So not only does he want to see what his car's capable of doing, but he wants to put a little better time up there, too.
A lot of fun this week, a Stars and Stripes week. The 4th falling right in between our first 2 races on NBC. And, of course, NASCAR salutes all month long, in the month of May as well, reminding everyone how much we appreciate the service of everyone who keeps this place free. Hope you're not too free off of turn 2 there, DJ, 3 wide.
That thing's broken up a little bit here as but they're still going hard at it. Again, here, when you see 3 cars like that that are at a much more reduced rate of speed there, just makes things difficult. I like how they're kind of giving each other a little bit of room in there, realizing the potential danger of a situation like that.
Good look at Tyler Reddick there in the 9. Has a little something under the front splitter there I'm noticing on the right side. A little piece of debris. Last week, Tyler had a very fast race car. I was talking with crew chief Dave Ellens about that. And he had 2 choices late in the race on where to pass some slower cars, and chose one that didn't work.
Well, you know, the thing that happened there was the problems that they had on pit road that put him in that situation, and you know, put him back where he didn't need to be. He had a great race car, and unfortunately, mistakes generally lead to other things happening. You know, it's just like in baseball. When a pitcher walks somebody, that person generally scores. It's crazy how it happens. And when you make mistakes, it puts you in situations to where you have choices to make, and you know, you get back there and things happen in front of you.
Hey, Dave, you mentioned that right front splitter on the 9 of Tyler Reddick. I can't tell if it's the decal blowing up on the top of the splitter or the splitter itself is grinding through. It looks like it's just the decal. The concern being that as you run, you see how close that splitter is to the racetrack. You actually grind some of that away, dragging it across the asphalt, and that's good. That's what you want. You want that kind of worn in for the race. So hopefully the team can come in and take a look at that. The concern being, if it has damaged the splitter to the point where they have to change it, you definitely don't want to start the race with a brand new splitter. So that's something they'll want to accomplish later in practice, is wear in whatever splitter they're going to put on to start.
Steve, I'm kind of fascinated by that. There's so much with the race wrap of the cars and everything. You decal the splitter, you don't paint it?
No, you're not allowed to paint it. It actually has to be decal. NASCAR doesn't let you put anything on the splitter. No Bondo, no material, and that's what can be expected. You know, I know this is hard to believe, Dave, but the crew chiefs, they will get creative. If there's any sort of leniency on any of those areas, especially the spoiler, the splitter, the areas that are so tight when it comes to rules and how they have to be enforced, just how that splitter is coated is covered in the rule book.
Well, guys, one of the cars in that pack is the 21 car Dave Hemrick, and I mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast, I talked to him before they went out and practiced, and the reason they wanted to practice in the pack, because he felt like his car was very unstable in the draft here in February and when they raced at Talladega. And now he got done with his first run in this practice and had this to say on the radio.
Salt arrow winds down around me, bumping me around. I think more than what I wanted to feel. But no, I thought it was good. Like, I got to get in a rhythm again. So do you. You know what I mean? This is a different beat. I like to add more control to my destiny there in the pack, in the top lane. Keep stalling the bottom out, you know, with the 22 there. I know we were both like side drafting the hell out of each other, but...
And so that's why they're back out here. They're going to continue working on those things that he said, getting buffeted around in the air. Remember, we saw in the first pack earlier in practice, he kind of moved up trying to make that side draft and got buffeted away from that car. So just little handling things and things they need to work on in the draft. Stuff that's even really tough, you know, DJ, to find and to work on, because it's a lot of just about that air buffeting that car around.
Yeah, it's hard to sometimes pick out exactly what your car's doing, what's making it do these different things. And I'll tell you what, and I've heard it from a number of drivers that their car didn't drive well at Talladega. Well, I'm telling you what, if it didn't drive good at Talladega, you got your hands full whenever you come here.
Well, you see right here, Daniel Hemrick's career, it's been about getting to the finish. You know, fast cars, look where he starts, inside the top 5, all 5 races, but the finishes all outside the top 20. 3 of those involved in the accident. They just, you know, DJ, that's what you have to do. You have to find your way on the last couple laps, put yourself in position. And you talked about the exciting finish in Chicago. I know there's going to be 2 exciting finishes here, and I'm going to have a great seat because I'm going to sit down here and cover both the Xfinity and the Cup races right here from the pit box, right on pit road where the action happens.
So, Steve, you're telling me you got another level after last week? You got one more level up still?
Another level, and look at it this way. I'm going to be more than an arm's reach away from my buddy Dale Jr., so my left shoulder will have a whole week to recover.
Yeah, bruising coming. Don't even think it's not.
And he's actually the fastest guy in Daytona Beach at this moment at 196 miles per hour and change right now. What'd you feel out there? How's this car handling the draft?
It was really good. We were a little free, but we had tons of speed, and you know, just kind of fine-tuning on the balance, which I think, you know, Parker, just when you can unload and have speed and you're just making minor adjustments, that's the ideal situation. So it's really cool. Looks like we're going to hold up P1 for practice, which is always nice. Doesn't mean a whole lot, especially super speedway, but we know we got a fast car. It's fast as that Xfinity Internet. But everyone on this drivedown.a1c.com Ford Mustang has done a great job. We always have speed when we come down here to Daytona, so now we just got to make sure we survive the race and are in position to win it at the end.
You definitely have speed. You also know how to win. You've done it twice. You finished 3rd here in February. I mean, what is it about this racetrack and super speed racing that just suits your style?
I think number one, you know, no matter what track it is, you have to have fast cars, and we have really fast Ford Mustangs. Roush Fenway does a great job with our Jimmy Fenning leading the group over at Roush on the Super Speedway package. That's the most important thing. And then from there, as a driver, you got to know how to work the draft and do the things you need to do inside the car to stay up front or get up front, whatever, you know, work the pack. And I feel like I do a pretty good job with that. Have great teammates like Ricky Stenhouse and Trevor Bain, and now Matt Kenseth to help coach me along. So just trying to learn every time I come out here.
That's the key, guys. Learning, using all that info at hand from those veterans. I'd like to get some of those tips, you know?
Well, Parker, he knows how to get around here. Obviously, you've mentioned that he's won a couple races, but right there, one thing he said that would be a little concerning, and I think Phil Gould, the crew chief, will probably ask him about this, is when he said he's just a little free. I know that doesn't sound bad, but remember, this was in a small pack, DJ. What was it, 8, 10, maybe 12 cars? In the race, the packs are going to be bigger, the runs are going to be faster, the tires are going to be older. That combination can take a little issue, like a little free, and really accentuate it into a handling issue. So I would be talking to my driver, seeing how big of a concern he might have about that.
Yeah, I think too many drivers might have heard in a movie one time that loose is fast, and That's not the best thing here. Yeah, you can have your car plowing, but what I always had was I wanted to get as much speed as I could and then give me a little bit of security, because you're going to have to make quick moves here like anywhere, not unlike anywhere else that you go. So if your car is loose and you're in a tight pack and needing to make a quick move into another lane or away from a car, and that car is already loose, well, once you start moving, that changes the air that you have, and you've got a loose race car, chances are you're not going to survive that too many times. So just get a little bit of security in it, where you know when you go to tug on the wheel to make that move that might be the winning move, you've got to have that underneath you.
Yeah, DJ, you see the red and black flags are out, so practice has come to an end. You know, one thing that Dale Jr. told me and taught me about restrictor plate racing is the weekend is just somewhat relaxed. We've talked about practice, how some guys won't run all of practice, and it's easy to let that relaxed state affect your preparation. And what he basically convinced me is, listen, just because we're not running, you need to be quizzing me about everything, about the car, about the handling, about the aero. There are things that maybe you can't go test, but you got to continue to push, because in the end, it will make a difference when you mention, you know, those last couple laps of the race. That's when all that preparation gets pushed into one final move. Will your car do what you need it to do?
Can I throw one more word into your discussion of the loose race car? Is predictability at this race something you want a lot more out of when you feel the wheel?
Absolutely, yeah. Just that little bit of tug on the wheel. You know, and if you're turning right here in the center of the corner to get your car through there, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to find yourself in trouble at some point in time. So that's just a little more reliability that you have if you've got that little bit of a tug on the wheel there to the left that gives you that security that you need. Obviously, you can't step over that. You get it doing too much, then you lose speed, and you find yourself in a bad position too.
Flip of the wheel, and drivers are out of their race cars. We'll see who was quick here this afternoon. We already talked to the guy who was fastest. Look at that, Justin Haley, Truck Series regular, K&N Pro Series champion, second fastest.
Yeah, it's so great when we come here because we see different names up there as far as fast. Shane Lee hasn't been here in a while, hadn't run many of these Xfinity races. Great back at Hickory, but this is totally different than Hickory Motor Speedway.
Lee's a good story for RCR. Michael Annette quick in the 11 car, the JRM cars in this 11 through 20 group. And what about Daniel Hemrick? We talked about him a little bit, just 20th on speed right now. That could change when he gets in the big pack. Steve, how about your final thoughts after practice one for Xfinity?
Well, Dave, we talked about at the start of practice. Run a lot of laps, get some heat in your tires, figure out what it's going to do in the pack. I saw multiple packs, a big pack to start practice, a smaller pack in the middle. And when I look at the leaderboard, I see over 20 laps for a lot of cars. I like that. I like the cars being on the racetrack. So it seems to me that because this rule package has been pretty similar for the last few races, the guys have a pretty good handle on their car. We'll have to see who's made the right decisions tomorrow night when the packs get bigger and the runs get faster.
Final practice for Xfinity comes up in just a little bit over an hour. Up next here on NBCSN, the Cup cars take to the track. Dale Jr., Jeff Burton join Rick Allen to bring you all that action. There's Harvick getting ready. See what his 4 car can do. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you later.